and Craig Smoak.
Edgar Thompson covers the Florida Gators, Orlando Sentinel. We've had Edgar on many times before, and he joins us, Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports on YouTube. Edgar, I guess it's been kind of an interesting, 24 hours or so on the Rashad commitment to Miami, and then what in the hell is going on with all this back and forth about who did what?
I was just telling the person, and I'm sorry I didn't know who. It was Paul.
Yeah.
I said, I was telling Paul that it's hard to keep up with this. It's like a cat fight between two lawyers on Twitter. It just doesn't. This is where we're at in NIL and in recruiting now. So the NIL anniversary is on Friday, 1 year. I didn't expect for it to get quite like this. I knew it was going to become a recruiting tool, obviously, even though there were so-called guardrails, I guess, in place loosely that were supposed to prevent that. There's no honor among thieves, as they say, right? So guys are just going full bore and just have totally just gone from trying to make this some sort of a commercial reward or enterprise for athletes using their name, image, and likeness to just pay for play, right? That's what it's become. And they're paying kids who've never even played, which is the crazy part of it, guys. We don't know if Jayden Rashada is a good player. I mean, he completed 57% of his passes in high school. He makes some great throws. I've seen some film of him. I mean, spectacular throws, but he's missing, whatever, I can't even add, but 42, 3% of them. And so the point I'm making is, how good's Arch Manning? He's playing against high school Catholic schools in New Orleans. I think he's probably great, but they're going to pay this kid $8 or $10 million or whatever he's getting. Why aren't they taking care of the guys in their program who have name, image, and likeness saleability, or if that would even be the word? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's gotten to be crazy. You're not even taking care of your own who are building the program, who are putting it on the map, why these kids are enticed to play for you anyway. And then here's the other thing I'll conclude with before we continue is, I was at SEC spring meeting and in Destin a few weeks back, and almost to a man, every coach is like, that's just part of the conversation now. Whereas a year ago, even Shane Beamer said maybe one or two kids last June even brought it up. Now it's like, I won't say first question. Some kids it is. That would concern me if the first question a recruit had was, can you give me? It's like, well, hold on. No, it's what can you give me, kid? Right? I don't get it. I'm old. I'm divorced from reality, apparently, about the way the world works anymore.
One of the accusations made by Michael, or the accusation in the start of the catfight, was that the Gators have an disorganized collective. I would imagine most collectives probably are disorganized.
I was going to say, name me an organized one.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that necessarily true, or is that just, like you said, just catfighting because he didn't get out of Florida what he wanted?
Well, we'll get to your question instead of my pontificating now, is because the NIL thing's just like created just a mess for all of us. We wake up every morning. I can't even imagine how these coaches view it, but thinking, what are we supposed to write about? What's happening? What is it? What is it? It just changes constantly. And this situation, Jayden Rashada, top 5 quarterbacks by all accounts, all rankings, all that. I mean, the kid's got talent. Don't think I'm running him down. I'm just saying he's unproven at this level. He is getting a reported $9.5 million deal from Miami, and allegedly got an $11 million offer from Florida that he rejected, which I find to be absurd. Knowing how Billy Napier operates in his view of things, we can talk about that. I can't imagine that he would even condone that on any level if he heard that this was the offer from the collective. I don't even think that collective has $11 million to offer total. They haven't raised $11 million yet. They're doing this like telling people to give up a latte or two a week and give it to the collective. Don't go to the movies one time a month and give it to the collective. I mean, this isn't like they have their Gator Guard, which is the big, country club version of the collective that does have a few $1 million donations in it. It might be $5 million total, but it's still not enough to be offering $11 million. So anyway, there's a lawyer in California, I don't have his name in front of me, who is saying how disorganized the Gator Collective is. It couldn't get its act together. It couldn't, whatever demands, desires, whatever that is, I suppose. And then, of course, the lawyer in Florida, Darren Heitner, he's a South Florida-based attorney with a law degree from Florida who actually teaches a business law class at the university. He has been behind the NIL law being put in the first place, guys, here in Florida. So Darren's quite familiar with NIL law, how it works, and he's heavily involved with the collective. Part of his thing, I think, is angling, and I don't even mean that negatively, is working toward a relationship with Anthony Richardson to maybe be his agent when he's in the NFL, maybe represent some other players, I don't know. So Darren bites back, like, yeah, what do you know? Our collective is what, it's two lawyers that are making money off these kids arguing on Twitter. I mean, it's ridiculous, if you want, in my opinion. But, I don't know all the ins and outs of these guys' relationship. Maybe it goes back more deeply. I just don't know.
I'm with you. I went on like a little rant earlier. It's like, why am I supposed to care about two lawyers arguing over this NIL deal? Like, I don't care what NFL quarterbacks make, much less a recruit, and two guys who I don't care to know, period, arguing about it. But like you said, it is the world that we live in. You said that you just don't see Billy Napier entering that type of space, a.k.a. $11 million for a quarterback. Part of it being, just that seems absurd for one player to begin with, like you said. But what about Billy Napier in particular leads you to believe that's just a little less believable, so to speak?
I'm glad you picked up on that and came back to it because it gives me a chance to sing Billy Napier's praises. I'm extremely impressed with Billy. I think I've already said this on your show in recent episode I was on. He is extremely thoughtful, meticulous. Well thought out. He's also a thoughtful person who does value wisdom, experience, and stuff, which I certainly have experience. I don't know about the wisdom part, but he's very respectful of me, of the other reporters. He doesn't get out over his skis on questions. He doesn't have like some data and some real thoughts on. He's just not going to say things. He's not about sound bites. In fact, you really got to work hard to get a sound bite out of him. He just is so thorough in his thought processes. A man like that does not do impulsive things like offer recruits $11 million or condone that on any level. He might be falling behind as a result of his meticulousness and really kind of his more old school approach to things, which is NIL is just a piece of the package, right? There are a lot of things that we're offering here at Florida. He has a holistic approach, as he likes to talk about, with student athletes. And what he wants to do with these kids is get them in here, usher them through here, and change their lives for the better, not just as football players, but overall. Give them perspective. Give them life skills. He has some kids over in Greece right now in some program. He has kids with this Gator Made program. They went up to Atlanta and met people at Coca-Cola and went to various businesses and stuff. He wants these kids to actually get a world view out of this experience, not just live in the weight room and watch film. So he's kind of a different guy. That might burn him in this new world we're in, recruiting-wise. I think ultimately it will serve him in this program, and he's taken some lumps early because of it. But he is not about, let's just pay a bunch of players and get them in here and let them run the program, right? He is not about that. He's about getting kids in here who want to be here for the right reasons and mold them. Now, I've drank the Kool-Aid, it sounds like, and I certainly have to a large degree. I know how this business works. I'm not like naive about it, but I think that Billy's coming at it in a way that he feels like has long-term staying power and is not just going to get them into a situation where they're beholden to a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids and paying them exorbitant amounts of money. That's just going to create bad chemistry, locker room issues potentially, and really put tons of pressure on kids that a lot of them aren't going to be able to handle. You're going to be giving Rashada $9.5 million. Well, he better perform quickly and effectively, because if he doesn't come out and he's not like God's gift, it's going to put a lot of pressure on a kid who's like 18 years old. How does he handle that?
Edgar, great stuff and insight. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time and your coverage of Florida, the Gators, and also kind of giving us your perspective of it. Thanks for your time.
Well, thanks for having me and listening to all that.
Hey,
Take care, fellas.
That's why we had you on. I mean, some will agree, some will disagree. You got a right to have your opinion, and also from what you know yourself as well.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the market, that's the market. I like I said earlier, I don't really care what the number is that these guys are making, and that's not an anti-NIL thing. I'm all for it. I just simply am not going. I'm not going to be sports business guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's things outside of sports, and like there's things I'll mention and off the radar. You know, guys signing HBO deals or documentaries, like all that stuff. Cool, man, cool. If there's a quarterback and Baylor signs him and we learn it's for $3 million a year, cool. But as far as getting like into the weeds on the amount of money and that kind of stuff, and the kind of the sleaziness that's clearly going on behind the scenes with these agents and lawyers and all of that, like that to me is just exactly what you did not want to become a focus, and I will not allow it to become a focus for me as a fan.
I agree, and